It's Striketober. What does that really mean? It seems like workers are feeling empowered, and what are they doing? They're going out there and they're saying, you treat me right, you pay me right, you do me right, or bye-bye. And that is a power that workers should have in a true society, right? Anyhow, there's a tie-in between worker power and what's occurring in the Build Back Better bill with what Joe Manchin is doing as he carries the water for the corporate structure. I'm going to explain that in a minute. I want you to first listen to Fareed Zakaria, and then we'll go ahead and take it on the other side, because what he has to say has a lot of importance to corporate America and what they want to continue doing. Check this out. We'll take it on the other side.
Most workers in the U.S. are not unionized, so they may not be inclined to organize a strike. But that doesn't mean they can't walk off their jobs. And indeed, the latest job data shows that a record 4.3 million workers quit their jobs in August. And it's not just August. Since April, an average of about 4 million workers have quit their jobs every month. It is a trend economists have called the Great Resignation. It's difficult to overstate how extraordinary this is. As Carl Smith notes in Bloomberg, the scale of resignations this year is beyond anything on record. Many believe it echoes what we're seeing with the strikes. Workers seem to be unhappy with long hours, low pay, and generally poor working conditions. And a record number of job openings gives them the freedom to demand more or walk away. This phenomenon has inspired panic in some employers who are desperate for workers. There are fears that the shortage will hurt small businesses, or that a rise in wages would make business less competitive in general. But these fears are misplaced. These trends are actually good news, especially for American workers who are in dire need of good news. As the MIT professor David Order recently wrote in The Times, the U.S. economy has long been plagued by a glut of bad jobs. Take a look at pay. Low-skilled American workers are some of the lowest paid in the industrialized world. They make almost 1/3 less per hour than their counterparts in Canada. Low-skilled Norwegian workers are paid more than twice as much. But pay isn't the only problem. MIT's Otto writes, American workers also receive less notice and severance when they're fired compared to workers in other wealthy countries. They take less vacation. Unlike their peers in most other rich countries, they don't have guaranteed paid parental leave. Order says that the labor shortages we're seeing, the record job openings alongside record resignation, are a market phenomenon that compels companies to improve on some of these policies to attract workers. We've already seen this in terms of pay. Average hourly earnings for workers have risen by more than $1 in the past year. That's not just good for workers, it's also good for the economy. That's because since the dot-com era of the 1990s, worker productivity has stagnated. But in the past year, productivity growth has picked up significantly, in part because employers are compelled to invest more in the workers they've got. A more productive workforce is actually good for competition. And if this trend continues long term, it could boost the economy's growth. Finally, a glut of open positions gives workers the leverage to experiment. Many workers have left their jobs to start their own businesses, and a rise in entrepreneurship would add some much-needed dynamism to the American economy. So Striketober and the Great Resignation may look chaotic, but this is just the kind of chaos the American economy needs.
And it's important to note, so why is it that Joe Manchin and all the Republicans Joe Manchin and a few, they don't want family leave. They don't want all these policies that will actually help their people, right? Hey, that green screen is coming through. But here's the deal. Here's the real deal. They don't want the American worker to have any sort of incentive to stay home if these employers don't want to pay them their worth. That's the whole idea behind objecting to Build Back Better. They don't want more taxes. They don't want any policies that somehow adversely affect business or cost business more. So what they want to do is they want to say, we want to make life so hard for you. We don't want to have any form of social state that gives you any advantages over anything that will somehow cause you to think twice before taking any job. Look, what we need is exactly what we're starting to have. Good job, Fareed Zakaria, for pointing this out. And employers, you want employees, do them right. we spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.